Shauna Rappaport here at GreenBiz 16, and I'm joined right now by Ron Cotterman, who's the Vice President of Sustainability for Sealed Air. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. You participated in a keynote this morning, talked about a breadth of topics, but let's dive in a little bit to food waste, which is obviously a huge contributor to climate change. It's something we looked at in last year's State of Green Business report as an emerging trend. Why do you think it's emerging and getting such attention?
Yeah, well, I think food waste up until now hasn't been recognized for the magnitude and the importance that it has on climate change. What's really amazing to me is that when you look at the numbers, probably 40% of the food that we produce is not consumed. That means all the resources, all the energy, water, et cetera, that went into making that is actually not used for food that humans consume. But in addition, the food that's wasted ends up in places like landfills that generate methane, carbon dioxide, and greenhouse gas emissions. So the magnitude of the problem is quite significant. If you look at the greenhouse gas emissions associated with food waste, it's larger than every country's emissions in the world except for China and the United States.
That sounds like a huge problem and also a huge opportunity. How is Sealed Air rethinking food waste through an opportunity lens for your business?
Well, that's a great question because it is a great risk and threat to climate change. On the other hand, it is a great opportunity for the business side. Sealed Air prides itself on bringing solutions to the marketplace that really redefine and transform supply chains. So being able, for example, to make food last longer without spoiling as it goes through the supply chain without the addition of preservatives is really a key technology that we specialize in. You know, it has brought you produce and meat and things of that nature that can last days or weeks instead of just a short period of time to get through that.
So help us understand a little bit. Let's think about from a specific, how is this applying across your supply chain? What are some of the solutions that you're not just seeing but really beginning to implement?
Yeah, so if you think about where a majority of the food is wasted, it actually occurs in the consumer home. Mm-hmm. Consumers buy food that they want to produce or that they want to make meals with later that week or possibly the next week, and they only want to shop once a week. So consequently, the food that they buy needs to have enough shelf life so that it can be used with their normal meal planning. Many foods won't last more than a couple days unless they're packaged in a proper fashion. So let me give you an example around meat. If you would take meat, whether it be poultry, pork, beef, and buy it in an unpackaged form, it might last 2 days, maybe 3 in some cases. However, if you buy it in a case where you've maybe excluded oxygen and packaged it in a way that is under a vacuum, that same meat might last 14 days, 21, even 28 days. The impact of that on the entire supply chain is phenomenal. Companies now have the ability to transport it across the supply chain. Retailers have more time to be able to merchandise and sell all the product they have, and the consumers share in that benefit as well, having more time to use a product before it might spoil.
So Sealed Air is really out at the forefront leading some of this. Are we seeing this kind of innovation and awareness spreading across industry?
I think we are. We've done a lot of work with Harris Poll, for example, to try and understand how consumers value the food products that they purchase and what kind of innovations we might be able to bring forward to make them better consumers of the food that they actually purchase. It comes down to, I think, awareness. For one thing, awareness of what the dates mean that are printed on food, awareness of how to store food, even prepare food. And so by packaging them in a certain way that matches their lifestyle and gives them information and education, they can be more informed and consequently waste less food.
That's great. I was going to ask, let's imagine it's 2020, we meet back at GreenBiz 4 years from now. What does success look like? You just kind of teed yourself up a little bit for that question, but what does that vision of success look like, both for Sealed Air, but also across the industry more broadly?
Yes, well, I think that the success in 2020 is going to look like a home that has a better control over the type of food that they buy. It's bought in the portions that they can reasonably consume for their family size and the way that they tailor their meals and menus. But it'll also be such that the consumer themselves will be much more educated about the best way to store foods and use foods so that as they develop new types of recipes and food choices, that there'll be much less waste as a result of that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for spreading the education and also for helping lead the industry forward. Ron, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.